Tell me a fan base that has it worse than the New York Yankees, losing the World Series, getting humiliated by the Dodgers in 5 games, losing the way they did in Game 5. Then the Dodgers coming out and rubbing it in to the New York Yankees face. And then the offseason come around, their best player from the season, Juan Soto, goes to the New York Mets, their next door neighbor. Not only that, Rookie of the Year, Luis Hill, injured at least 6 weeks. Same injury that Clark Schmidt had last year, and Clark Schmidt didn't pitch till like October, September timetable. So they said at least 6 weeks. That doesn't mean 6 weeks. That means he's not going to throw for at least 6 weeks. It's going to be a lot longer than that. They just don't know. What if it's out for the year? They're not going to tell you because they have no timetable on it. Rookie of the Year, by the way, Luis Hill, who they could have traded for Kyle Tucker. Then, Ace Garrett Cole, most likely 99% sure that he's going to be out for the year with Tommy John surgery because he had the same issue last year, and you're getting up there in age. You might as well get Tommy John now, not try to like stay, be out for a multitude of months and then end up having to get Tommy John in a couple of years considering he's, now mid-30s. So, Garrett Cole, 99% chance he's going to get Tommy John and be out for the year. So the Yankees have lost 2 starters. They're 2 most reliant starters from last season because, Garrett Cole was their ace and Luis Hill won Rookie of the Year. Luckily they went out and got the guy from the Braves. But the New York Yankees, not only that, they've lost their best player. Now they lost their best postseason hitter in Giancarlo Stanton. It's absolutely ridiculous. Honestly, as a fan, personally, if I was the New York Yankees, I'd just blow it up. Honestly, because you went out and you made these moves, considering that certain guys would be healthy, and the season ended before it even started. We're in spring training, and the New York Yankees season genuinely ended in spring training. Their ace out, Rookie of the Year out, best player signed with the Mets, and then best hitter in the postseason out as well, with both, elbows injured. This man literally sold the rest of his career for a World Series championship, and the New York Yankees couldn't give him that. And if you're going to come out and believe, by the way, these reports that, Brian Cashman is going to come out and try to get a DH. Brian Cashman is looking at other options like Dylan Cease, Sandy Alcantara, maybe a reunion with Sonny Gray, Michael King. No, that's not happening. Nobody's a better fraud than Brian Cashman when it comes to having interest in players and not acquiring them. I'm telling you this right now. The New York Yankees will not end up, signing or trading for any of these guys. This is what the rotation is going to look in opening day. It's going to be Max over here. Going to be our ace, obviously. We've got nobody else better, and he's quite injury prone, so I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting hurt throughout the year, being out for the year, and then Carlos Rodon or Clark Schmidt end up being our ace for the rest of the season. That could very well happen. Carlos Rodon and Clark Schmidt, I've said multiple times, throughout the last postseason, I have no confidence in them. If they are our 4th and 5th starter, I have no problem, which they very well could have been, considering with everything going on, before the injuries. They really would have been, the 4th and 5th starters. But instead, they're going to be our 2nd and 3rd. They're going to be very reliant throughout the season. And unless Carlos Rodon shows somewhat of his, kind of, stats that he did before he left the White Sox, then we're talking, mid-2 ERA, then, hey, Carlos Rodon, we'll accept that kind of performance. Clark Schmidt, I mean, in the regular season, he's a great guy. He's a great 5th starter. But the second you get to the playoffs, unreliant. Every time he threw a ball over the plate against the Dodgers, I was scared it was going to be out of the park. But in the regular season, yes, he could eat up some innings against the White Sox when you're playing the Blue Jays, when you're playing the Orioles, the Rays. But the second you start playing Boston or the Guardians or Detroit or, actually good teams in the AL and especially in the NL, if you're going to play the Dodgers, Braves, Phillies, Padres, obviously I wouldn't be confident with Clark Schmidt at the mound. And then you got Stroman, who he's caused more headlines off the field than on the field with the New York Yankees. So that just tells you his stint with the Yankees. This man literally became a New York Yankee hater, came on to the Yankees, and now he's back as a Yankees hater. I think he's gonna end up starting. You have no other choice unless you're gonna find a way to move him, which it's not gonna happen. Too much work for Brian Cashman. And then it's gonna be Will Warren or Carrasco. Well, there was a report saying that Carrasco was loved by the New York Yankees, and really, we all know what Brian Cashman loves to do with these kinds of young guys like Will Warren. He's gonna put Will Warren in AAA because he has options, and he's gonna really just ruin Will Warren's career like he's ruined every other prospect except for Luis Hill. And the guy in Wells and Volpe's but the way he's ruined Everson Pereira and Peraza by keeping him too long in AAA and not moving him up fast enough. So I think that's the same thing's gonna happen with Will Warren. He's had an exceptional spring training, but he's not gonna put him up. Him, Lombardi, Spencer Jones, they're gonna stay where they're at, AAA. That's where they're gonna be, and no matter what happens, because that's what they like to do, because they have options. And then we have the next coming of Clint Frazier, Miguel Andujar, and so on. There's just gonna be prospects that we could have traded for superstars, but we didn't because we felt confident with what we had. It's just terrible from Brian Cashman. This team's absolutely caught on fire at the moment. The Blue Jays have a better team than us. We're honestly only better than the Rays. The Blue Jays are better. The Orioles are better. And obviously Boston Red Sox are better. To me, Boston's going to have the best record in the AL. A weak AL. It's all open, but the New York Yankees just caught on fire for some reason. They lost their best player in free agency. They lost their best two pitchers due to injury for an extended amount of time. And now their best hitter is going to be out, and he's got replaced by Dom Smith. That's where we're at. The New York Yankees are quite literally the first team in sports history to end their season after a World Series run before the season even started in spring training. And we're not going to go out and do any replacements. This is all PR. All PR. They are not willing to give up anyone. They're not going to give Lombardi, whose stock is high, Spencer Jones, whose stock is high, Will Warren, for any of these guys. It's not going to happen. This is the rotation, and the lineup's going to stay the same. Just it's gonna be Judge, Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, Wells, and then Jazz Chisholm, and then a bunch of bums with them. But anyways, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about the New York Yankees? Will they make any moves? I'll answer that for you. No, they won't.